mock draft after free agency, mock draft 2.0. I'm gonna break down my predictions for the first 10 selections of the NFL draft based on, all the moves that have happened so far in the NFL. Let's start off with pick number 1. Cam Ward to the Tennessee Titans. I think this is obvious. We saw how happy Brian Callahan, how happy, that staff for the Tennessee Titans was at the Miami Pro Day. We saw him put on a show, the arm angles, all the arm talent is there. He could be their first 4,000-yard passer since Warren Moon. So I think the playmaking he could provide for the Titans, it's playmaking that they've never had before, reaching Marcus Mariota's fullest ceiling. So yeah, Cam Ward's going to be a really good quarterback and the franchise quarterback for the Tennessee Titans. So I think it's a no-brainer for them at pick 1. For the Cleveland Browns, Shedeur Sanders, that's got to be the pick. It can't be an Abdul Carter. Pass rushers don't change franchises, quarterbacks do, and the Cleveland Browns are desperate for a quarterback. They're trying to right their wrongs. The owner, Haslam, he just came out and put out a statement that, he's taking the blame for the Deshaun Watson move, and they're going to, fix that. And I don't think they fixed that with getting Abdul Carter. He'd be a great, Robin to Myles Garrett, but you just gave the bag to Myles Garrett. You need to get a quarterback. You need to do exactly what Denver did. So Shedeur, I think he'd be a great addition. He would be the perfect quarterback to add to the Cleveland Browns team. Would be a great option to facilitate that offense. I mean, shit, they went to the playoffs with Joe Flacco off the couch. So I think Shedeur Sanders would be somebody that would thrive in Stefanski's offense. Pick number 3, the Giants take Travis Hunter. This is a guy that could be an all-pro at 2 different positions. Him on the Giants with Malik Neighbors. Those are your 2 franchise cornerstone pieces. I like that a lot. I've even been seeing some people say, hey, they could get Travis Hunter and then trade back in the first round with, all the picks they have and get Shedeur Sanders too. That'd be a dream scenario. But Travis Hunter, he would fit the bill. He could fit 2 needs for the New York Giants. He could play corner. He could play receiver. They need more weapons. They need, more depth to that corner room, and he could give you both. So I think that's a good pick for the Giants. Patriots at pick 4, they would be gleaming with joy if they could get Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter. Abdul Carter obviously makes this defense a lot better. He is a generational blue chip prospect, the best player in the draft arguably, and him with Harold Landry, I think that defense does a whole 360. Last year, that defense struggled, but now adding him, Carlton Davis in the secondary, Harold Landry, I think he'll be a 10-sack guy this season. Kyle Duggar at the safety position, Christian Gonzalez. That secondary is going to be more improved with the addition of Carlton Davis. And now Harold Landry, Abdul Carter, Christian Barmore coming back, being healthy. That defense is going to be very underrated, and the Patriots as a whole will be a really good team, but adding Abdul Carter, you can't miss with that. I know they want to add more weapons for Drake May. They got Stephon Diggs, but they have a lot of draft picks to work with. The 2nd and 3rd round is deep with talent, so they'll be able to add some more talent to the offense. But defensively, that's where they need to get better to compete with Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills. So Abdul Carter will get them a step closer to that, because he could be the next Micah Parsons. He could be the next Von Miller. Those comparisons are very fair to the type of player he can be. Only 16 games as an edge rusher. Last season, he had 13 sacks, was dominant off the edge, great against the run, just that relentless player. He's only going to get better. And with Mike Vrabel as his head coach, players coach, a guy that's going to demand accountability, hold him accountable, I think that's a perfect situation for him to land in. And that's the lowest spot he'll go. At pick 5 for the Jacksonville Jaguars, I got them going Mason Graham. He's like the safest pick at this point for the Jags, the safest guy they can get. You know what you're getting with him. He's going to be elite defensively. He's going to, be a tough guy to block. He has a relentless motor. He's a disruptor up the middle. Great first step quickness with his size and his stature. Has elite instincts, has great power, unblockable, athletic. The traits are there with this guy. Phenomenal traits. 5 sacks last season, 91.1 PFF grade. 20 quarterback hurries, so this is a dominant interior guy. To add him alongside Trayvon Walker and Josh Hines Allen, that defensive line is going to be scary. Trevor Lawrence, Liam Cohen, that offense I expect to be better next season, but defensively, they're going to be pretty solid up front. Pick 6, I got the Las Vegas Raiders taking Ashton Genty, and you look at this Vegas team, the improvements are there. Quarterback play is going to be nice, and that offensive line is pretty solid, so you have one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the NFL. You have Pete Carroll, who loves to run the ball. He had Marshawn Lynch. Marshawn Lynch had a great career with Pete Carroll, had great seasons in Seattle. They were kind of a run-first first team with the accurate quarterback in Russell Wilson. Now they have that with Geno Smith. And if they could get Ashton Jeanty in the mix behind that decent offense line, Jackson Powers Johnson at center, Colton Miller at tackle, some other underrated pieces on the offensive line, Brock Bowers at tight end, this offense will be scary. The great instincts, the great vision Ashton Jeanty has, he could be a special player and a superstar that Vegas needs. He's going to be so tough to bring down, and with the identity they're going to try to create in Vegas, that defense is pretty good. They're going to run the ball down teams' throats, and Max Crosby, Malcolm Kuntz, they're going to get home. And with Patrick Graham retained as the defensive coordinator, Vegas could be a sleeper team. Hopefully, because I'm a Bears fan, Jeanty can land in Chicago, but another spot I wouldn't mind him going to where I think he could have a really good, successful career is Vegas. The cornerstone pieces in Vegas for Tom Brady and Spytek, Brock Bowers and Jeanty, with a Chip Kelly offense too, that kind of moves me a little. That team could be pretty scary. Pick 7 for the New York Jets. I know people want them to get Tyler Warren, but Armand Membu, I think that's a pretty solid prospect for them. They already have Fashanu at left tackle. They need to shore up things on the other side. They have Vera Tucker up the middle. They just signed Josh Myers. Going to be interesting who plays center, him or Joe Tippmann. The Jets have a pretty solid interior offensive line. Now, having Fashanu play all 17 games, having him build off what he did last season, and getting Membu as your right tackle, you can't mess with that. Justin Fields hasn't had 2 solid tackles like that in his whole career. Membu has great tape. He's athletic as hell, 330 pounds, can move, great zone blocker. And with what Detroit did, they ran a lot of zone. I'm assuming, new offensive coordinator Tanner Engstrand is going to be, implementing some of that in New York with the running backs they have. So he's a perfect fit for that. He can seal the edge perfectly. There's an argument to be made that he's better than Will Campbell and Kelvin Banks. And you look at the tape, can't really argue with it. 90.6 PFF grade overall. 0 sacks, 0 quarterback hits given up. Only 21 years old. Very young player. Still scratching the surface of what he can be. The traits are there. The athleticism is there. The skill set is there. This is a no-brainer for the Jets. They need to go this route instead of getting a playmaker like Tyler Warren. They can find that in round 2, round 3. Get Harold Fannin Jr. or maybe another receiver, Jaden Higgins, Jalen Noel. Like, there's options out there for more playmakers, but offensive line, fix that first. Carolina Panthers at pick 8. I think they get Ted McMillan. Get him for Bryce Young, that big body receiver, that big body weapon. 6'4", 219 pounds, but he's a big body weapon that has, some yak ability. He can, extend plays. He can catch it and go 6. He has the speed. He has the elusiveness. With his great size and athleticism, he can maximize mismatches. He can be lined up in the slot. He can be lined up outside. He can line up on the outside hip of the tight end. You can line him up anywhere. He's drawn those Drake London comparisons, and I think that's very fair. 50-50 contested ball catcher. He can do that at a high level, very high level. Bryce Young needs a weapon like this, and this will help the Panthers and Bryce Young continue to build off what they did last season, towards the end of the last season. Back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons in Arizona, had 800 yards, the year prior to that. So production is there. The consistency is there. Very reliable target. Bryce Young needs this guy on the Panthers come April. Pick 9 for the Saints. I think they go Michael Williams. They need an edge rusher. They need it bad. Him, Chase Young, Cam Jordan. They need a replacement for Cam Jordan long term. And I think Michael Williams, 6'5", 265 pounds. He has a body frame. He has a size. This is a talented guy. People are worried about the lack of production, but Jalen Carter, all those other Georgia players, they didn't have nearly the production he had the last 2 seasons. You got to bet on his traits. He could be exactly what Trayvon Walker is, a great run stopper, athletic freak, big body defender, and it translated well for Trayvon Walker. You're not taking him at pick 1 this time, though. There might be, a struggle. The production might not be there year 1, but year 2, year 3, you see Trayvon Walker's having double-digit sack seasons. You need to develop him as a pass rusher. Needs to, work on his game, work on his technique, work on some, adding some moves to his bag, and I think he could do that with the Saints. He's only 20 years old, so he's relatively young, but he's winning majority of his reps off physicality and off athleticism. So this is a guy that the Saints need to grab, and I think it would be a pick that would pan out very well for him in the future. Pick 10, I have the Chicago Bears trading down with the Seattle Seahawks. Genti is off the board. I have the Seahawks and the Bears making a trade. The Bears taking the Seahawks pick and taking Amarion Hampton, and the Seahawks coming to pick 10 to take Will Campbell. There's concerns about Will Campbell's his arm length, it being short. He had a length of 33 measured at his, pro day, but I think him inside at guard for Seattle, that's a chance they're going to take. They need guard help badly. They have pretty solid tackles, but getting him inside, that will help Clint Kubiak run the offense he wants to run. With the dominant running backs they have, they need to, they need guys that are creating holes up front. So Will Campbell, you can argue about his arm length, but you can't argue the type of football player he is, the mauler he is. That would be a home run gift for the Seahawks, and it'd be worth trading up for them. He's just a football player, and he's going to show up every day with physicality and just dominate the person in front of him. So that's a guy you need on your team, and I think he would be a really good get for Mike McDonald and Clint Kubiak and the Seattle Seahawks. Let me know your thoughts down below on this mock draft. Picks 1 through 10. Let me know some picks you agreed with, some picks you disagreed with. Will Shedeur Sanders go 2, or would you rather have Abdul Carter go there? Let me know down below. Some people thought the NFC North was going to be the worst division in football this season. They thought it was going to be as bad as the NFC South.